Hi everyone, this week we are talking about the theories of gender, and I wanted to make a short video to help you understand what the purpose of these theories are and how they work together. So the first thing I want to make sure that everybody remembers is that these theories are just about the social construction of gender, not about anything else, just about how gender is socially constructed. That's pretty important to understand. So that's point one. The second thing that I want to make sure everybody understands, or kind of an insight that I have about theories that I would like to share with you, is that each one of these theories functions as a perspective for which we can gain new understanding about how gender, in this case, functions. So you can think of them as perspectives on gender, or you can think of them as a lens through which we can look at gender. So let me give you an idea of what that means. Like, one of the theories is the anthropological theory of gender. So the lens there, or the perspective, is anthropology, culture. That theory is saying that we learn our gender by being a part of our culture. Well, that's how anthropologists think, right? They think about how culture affects our interactions. So, that makes sense, right? Culture is part of our gender. I can go to a different culture and see that gender looks slightly different there. So, okay, cool. I got anthropology down, right? So there's a different theory, a different perspective, which says, biology is part of our gender as a social construct. And, hormones affect how I perform my gender. Okay, well, I can accept that, especially for some people. That's going to probably vary from individual to individual, just like, by the way, the effect your culture has on you is going to vary from individual. Okay, so biological theory, the lens there is biology. So I got culture, I got biology. Social learning theory is going to talk to us about how our early childhood interactions and how we learn gender from other people. Each one of these theories, there's more than those three, but each one of those theories is going to add to your understanding. And it's important for you to know that they are meant to work together, and together they're complete. So that's actually kind of my second point, which is that individually, none of these theories really truly account for what gender is. I mean, is it probably partially biological in our hormones? Yeah, there's, for some people that's true. Is it partially our culture? Yes, definitely, and it's different for different people. Do we learn it from other people, like they say in social learning theory? Certainly. So all those things make sense, as do most of the parts from the other theories too. So none of them are complete alone. But when we get them together, they start to make more sense, because I can understand that, yeah, those three things I'm using examples, those all work together to give me a more complete picture of what gender is. And then I also have to add to that gender is so individual that it's going to be, like, it might be more biological in one person than it is in the next person, or it might be more cultural in one person than it is in the next person. So you have to understand that they aren't complete on their own, but together they're going to add to our understanding and give us a better picture of how gender functions as a social construct, and therefore how we perform it, and what the expectations and stuff are. And later you're going to deconstruct some of those expectations, because you're going to start to feel frustrated with them. Some of you might already feel that way, which is fine. That's how most of you are going to end up feeling by the end of the semester. So, okay, that was three things, right? And the last thing that I'm kind of leading you to is so that you understand, not only are they not all complete, in fact, none of them are complete, none of them can fully account for what gender actually is and how it functions, but some of them are going to make more sense to you than others. So, in other words, when you read this, some of them are going to be like, aha! That is the answer I've been looking for, and that makes so much sense to me about how we learn gender in this way. And then you're gonna read the next one, and you're gonna be like, I don't think that makes any sense at all, and it makes me uncomfortable. Like, there's one of these theories, I'm not gonna tell you which one it is, You could email me and find out if you want, or we could come to office hours. There's one of these theories that I'm like pretty uncomfortable with. Like I get this deep into it and I'm like, and then I get deeper and I'm like, no, that's strange and weird. And students actually bring this up in class. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. It's psychodynamic theory. Students actually bring that up in class, and that's actually why I'm mentioning it, is because in class when I tell students that psychodynamic theory, the weird creepy sexual stuff, makes me uncomfortable, they're like, you too? It made me uncomfortable. I thought that was really weird. And I was like, why am I having to learn this? So if you notice, it's not even in the modules, because that's how uncomfortable it makes me, and it makes a lot of people. But it's a good example because there are, as uncomfortable as some of the weird creepy sexual stuff that Freud had to say is, there were some important parts that he had to say like are unconscious. I mean, that's to think about your unconsciousness is really important. So we got a piece of that and we keep that piece that makes the most sense. And then we also take a piece of the biological theory. Like, I don't think gender is just biological, but yeah, I think some of it is. There's probably your hormones play a role in that. And again, I'm going to say this like a million times. It's probably way different for different people. Some people it probably matter. It has a different effect on them than others. But I can get something from all of these different theories if I'm looking hard enough. And then the one, like when I get to the stuff that really, I mean, there's some stuff in psychodynamic theory in particular that just makes me so uncomfortable that I'm like, why? Like, I don't even want to talk about that. Like, who thought of that is normally my reaction. I can reject it, is what I'm saying. So if you get to a place where you're like, then you get to do that. You just have to learn what all of them are saying. So I recommend using them as a lens or a perspective for how to think about these concepts. And I think that that's going to help you a lot when you go through these theories. And then when you go to apply them later, because some of them are going to stick out to you and you're going to think about them later and you're going to bring them up later in the semester. Okay, I hope that this video got a little longer than I intended it to be, but I hope that that's useful for you. And you got a little bit of what I would have said in class, because I would have mentioned that stuff about psychodynamic theory. Yeah. Okay, so email me, come to office hours if you have any questions, all right?